You know what's going on in each other's lives. You know when you need support. You know when there's a cause for celebration. And so there is an extended family within this whole network of grace. So that's the idea that we will continue to put out before you, is opportunities to create small groups so that you can really be in these kind of small cells. Imaginal cells is one of the things that Andrew Harvey talks about, referring back to a story with Deepak Chopra, that there's imaginal cells working together, multiplying the good. That was in reference to a caterpillar making its transformation. You can read all about it in the Hope. You know, and Margaret Mead, the world's best-known anthropologist, said, "Never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can make a difference. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." So those small groups, because, and I think a big part of it is because those small groups know each other and support each other and connect with each other, that there is the best of us coming forward, right? Just like in the Dagari tribe, where they know each other and they support each other and they know each other's gifts and purpose and namesake, there is a kind of support for somebody to be the best they could possibly be. And that's the idea of these small groups that are then networked in larger ways. Sometimes ways we don't even know. We have a group, for example, here that it comes together. We have two groups that come together and pack lunches for the homeless. We have a slide of one of them. This is a family. I see James is here today, one of his photos. And so James, at his home with his family and other members of this congregation, I see Diana's here too. You're photographed here. That they come together and they make sandwiches for the homeless. And so this is just one example of so many. You heard earlier about the Hope group that's going to be doing the Prisoners Literature Project. Lots of ways that we give to the larger community. But I think it's so beautiful that James does this also in his home with his family, with his young adult sons who participate in that. So what a great experience that they have. Even though they may not come to this church regularly, they're part of this small cell that is networked to us, a part of the network of grace, of unity. And there are many, many more, countless. If you're looking for a group, there's no doubt you can find one here through a class or through service. There's plenty of ways to volunteer or to get together in a study group and to study something together, to pray together, to make a prayer group or a mastermind group. In my former church, I knew of a mastermind group that had been together for 35 years, every week praying together. You know, that's the kind of solidity that you can create of community, that really you know that these folks have your back. So that you may be up to. If you want to get involved in ecology. June Hawley says that in networks, everyone is a leader. Everyone is encouraged to action in their group. And so our networks can grow as out of sort of this grassroots kind of effort. It's not about concentrating around one or two leaders, but sharing leadership, sharing study and those plants that network. Wide web. You know, there are so often, but in ways that we do a kindness and we don't even. I've talked to you before. Boyle's work. He also a Catholic priest on the heart. He tells great stories about Speedy, one of the boys and homegirls through Homeboy Industries has helped get that came to see Father Boyle one day. I got to talk to you for a minute. Guy. His vestment. For now, this Father Boyle does his you to know that if any is she talking about? And so she says, I've seen you. I've seen how you play with your nephew in the park. You're a good uncle. And I've seen how you participate in our homeless program here at church. You have a heart of service. And she repeated it again, just so he'd be clear. If anything ever happened to you, it would break my heart in two. So he's telling G about this, and he says, that really hit me, you know, G? And Father Boyle says, not too long after that, Speedy married the love of his life, his childhood sweetheart. He got a job up in an oil refinery in Richmond. And he had 3 children, a daughter and two sons. And he began to thrive in every way. He got promotions. He came to see Father Boyle, and he took him out to dinner. And as they were talking about his job and his promotion and so on, Father Boyle said, what do you all do for fun? He said, well, on my day off, which is Sunday, we go to Mass. And afterwards, I take the kids to Cafe Mimi, and they can order whatever they want. And then we go to Barnes & Noble, and he goes, everybody goes to their own corners and reads their own books for 2 hours. He said, you know I'm too cheap to buy them books. So they can come back the next week and pick it up where they left off. But he said one day all the kids just begged and pleaded for him to buy the Harry Potter book. And so he did. And he said, you know what we do now, G? He said in the evening we turn off the television and we read Harry Potter. He said, my oldest daughter, she can read a whole page. And the next son, he can read about a paragraph. And the baby struggles to get through a sentence, but we all help. And he said, and I just shut my eyes and I lean back in my recliner and I listen as a page and a paragraph and a sentence is read by my children together. He couldn't have ever imagined that life. And one person, maybe 2, Father Boyle, but that one encounter was somebody who he didn't even think he knew. A woman who cared enough to tell him how much she cared, put him in a whole different direction. And now he's created a healthy family and a healthy work environment, and another network of grace is born out of that. We never know. And so we just keep our eyes and our ears and our hearts and our minds and our spirits open to be in constant interconnected community. And then to make really deliberate choices to be in these small groups working together for the good of all, whatever causes arise in our hearts, whatever makes us feel good about making a difference, whatever passions or heartbreaks, as Andrew Harvey would put it, lead us to those places. And we trust then that there is a hidden network, just like beneath the ground there is between these trees, and that hidden network is constantly sending out communication that helps each other so that we can all thrive. You know, we're part now in this world of that critical mass that I remember years ago always reading about, the critical mass, tipping the scales. It seems like now it's really critical that the critical mass tip the scales, you know? And we are. And we are. That's the hope. We are. That's the faith that I know in my heart, that we are. We are tipping into the good. We are bringing forth the greater good for all, co-creating the kind of world we want to see, and letting dissolve those old structures that don't work for us anymore. Martin Luther King said, "We are caught in a single garment to one." Exactly. And that's the truth of who we are. We have an affirmation together. Grace, and so it is.